We in here. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Creative Emotions. I am your host, Vaquita Q. Taylor, and welcome. This is your first time. Make sure you hit that share button, that like button. Make sure you subscribe. What you can get here, what you will get here, is motivation, encouragement, information, inspiration, empowerment, transparency, and you're going to get these good vibes. Ain't going to be nothing you can do about that. Period. Okay? I need you guys to make sure you share. Let me go on here. I know we started a little late, so, it is what it is. Make sure this is the right one. Oh, it's two of them. I think I might have shared the wrong one. Well, then. Welcome. Listen, if you have not gotten your copy of I Want My Own Husband, make sure you get your copy. I Want My Own Husband. You can get it on www.thecreativeemotions.com. I want to remind you guys about Poetry and Conversations. It will be April 19th, and the feature will be Desmond Lamont. He got a good vibe. You got to come and see it. You got to come check it out. You can call in. This is a live show, 313-266-2811. Make sure you call in just to, kick it about the topic today. Again, if this is your first time, make sure you subscribe. What I'm going to be talking about today is familiar dysfunction and what that looks like. What does that look like? I want to give everybody an opportunity to come on. I think I shared the wrong... I did. I shared the wrong one because he did another one. So let me share this real quick. This is your opportunity to share. Your opportunity to like. Because the other one is empty. Great. Thank you. All right. It is what it is. So I'm talking about familiar dysfunction and what that looks like. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not worried about that. Whatever. Whoever needs to see this will see it in time. Familiar dysfunction, what does that look like? It is something that's comfortable. Something that you can go back to. It may feel like home, but it's toxic. It's dysfunction. And that can be anything, a job, a relationship. It can be any and everything. So I just want to bring up a few things, ask you a few questions. What do you claim as this is just what I do, or this is who I am, right? Because a lot of people identify with certain things that are not conducive to the space that they're in. How many people can identify with your family history? When you say, oh, this is just how we are. Me and my family, this is what we do. We smoke, we drink, we cuss, we this, we that. When you think about getting to different environments and you're grabbing a hold of an identity that started from somebody else, has nothing to do with you, I want to encourage you to find your own identity and understand that's a part of familiar dysfunction. That's something that you grew up with, something that you're used to, something you may be comfortable with, but is it good for you? Is it conducive? So how many people have been through traumatic experiences, relationships, or childhood trauma, and you find yourself in similar situations over and over and over and over again? I can say that I have. I can definitely say going to what is comfortable or what you deem not to be a challenge or whatever. I've definitely did that. I've definitely, when I was younger, dated the same type of person over and over. And I'm like, why do I keep dealing with this? But it was something in me that I had to deal with. It had nothing to do with the other person. It had nothing to do with the people in general. Everything to do with, why do I keep walking into familiar dysfunction? Why? So a lot of things you'll hear on this channel is self-accountability, being accountable for yourself and knowing that nobody's in charge of how you're operating in this time, space, reality. But do you change the way you look at things just to make you feel more comfortable? So things may be clear cut, just straight up what it is, but you rearrange some things in your mind and your vision just so you can be comfortable with it. This is talking about familiar dysfunction and what that looks like. Do you see red flags or triggers and ignore them? A lot of us do that. a lot of times. Again, because you just want to be with what's comfortable. You don't want the challenge. But have you noticed that you are attracting the same type of familiar dysfunction? Again, this is something that I talk about. This show is for you. This is just a few things that was put on my heart. Holy Spirit, forgive me, because we came into some dysfunction, okay? We came into some disorder. So I want to invite the Holy Spirit in the room, okay? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We came into what, we usually have a little groove, a little something that we do and sit down, and it wasn't that. So it started off a little rough. But take note of similar things when you think about conflicts. If you have the same type of conflicts and how it make you feel and where is it stemming from. Enabling behaviors. Are you an enabler? Do you have people around you that you enable, or do people enable you? And you allow it because it's comfortable. We're talking about familiar dysfunction. Codependency. That's another thing. You feel like you can't do something without another person, or you just have to have a person to move about or to do, whatever it is that you're doing. When you think about addictions can come from anything. It can be your phone, porn, sleep. It can be drugs, drinking, like all these different things. When you think about familiar dysfunction, where do it come from? Why are you allowing it to stay if it's not giving you the desire that you're looking for? But I want to, just commend you or encourage you to be honest with yourself. I won't be before you long. Again, this was just something that was laid upon my heart, and I think we all come across this more often than we like to realize. That a lot of things that we're doing, we're learning. We're trying to figure this thing out. We're trying to figure life out. And so everything is not perfect. You won't just have the answers just right in front of you. Now you can. You totally surrender. Things just happen that way. But you have to go through certain things so that you can learn the lesson. So you don't trip up over and over again. But when you be honest with yourself, you can say, you know what? I need to work on this before I allow this. Or let me stop doing this because I keep getting this. So just being honest and just knowing the things, the people, habits, triggers that are similar. Is it something in you that need to be dealt with? And that's something I talked about when I first started. A lot of times we have to deal with ourselves. We have to deal with unforgiveness. If we're holding grudges, if we're holding resentment, and that stuff take up space. And you don't have space in your heart to really, get into an unfamiliar place of being uncomfortable so that you can have new experiences. I say the heck with that. With them familiar dysfunction. Yeah, you got to release yourself. And the only person who can do it is you. So if a lot of people around you saying the same thing about you, more than likely it's true. So that's a hard pill to swallow. But I would prefer that than to walk around delusional. I would prefer to listen to the closest people around me. If all of them saying the same thing, and I'm just walking around like, no, that's not me. That's delusional, okay? That's dysfunction. It's dysfunction of your own self. You got to understand, look, we're not perfect. And when you find those things that are not perfect, fix them, work on them. It's really that simple. But to walk around, the silent killer is that ego and that pride. That ego and that pride will make you look so ugly on so many levels that you will continue to create this familiar dysfunction because you're thinking more of yourself than you should. So we got to be careful with that. We got to take note of where we are. Pay attention to where you're trying to go and, set those goals and be consistent, all that good stuff. But if you don't deal with where you are and make sure you're good, you'll continue to go through this cycle. And it's really uncomfortable. But I've noticed personally, you cannot run away from lessons. So I've had a lot of situations where I had to learn the hard way. I'm tired of learning the hard way. I am over it, okay? I'm tired of learning the hard way. So now I'm listening. I am listening. Okay? I listen. When people come to me, I chew up the meat and spit out the bones. I tell people that, and they be feeling some type of way, but like that's a real thing. Everything somebody say to you is not gold, but it's something in it that you can find value in, and you can take note of it. So when people tell me stuff, I may not agree with everything they saying, but I'm like, okay, I hear you. I receive it, because that's how we grow. But I've learned that no matter what, those lessons will continue to be clothed and housed and look different with the same end goal. So no matter what, you would not get away from a lesson. You would not get away from what you need to experience to free yourself from attracting these familiar dysfunctional activities, people, places, and things. This is a real thing, man. I was wondering this morning, like, when the Holy Spirit gave me this familiar dysfunction, like, where? Okay, what? But I know it's people that deal with it, because I have. So I already know. But take a look over your behaviors. Have you adapted to some undealt with childhood trauma or events? Because you can actually catapult yourself off of what was negative. But then at the end, so a lot of people do this. A lot of people take whatever was negative in their life that they wanted to overcome, and they just wanted to, I'm going to show these people, or whatever they catapulted off of. They look into something else, but they're looking at what was negative, whatever was negative that happened in their life, whether it was a breakup, a situation in your childhood. Now you want to show your family, your friends, your ex, your lover, whatever. You want to show these people. So that is your energy and how you move. You got to think about that, because you're adapting that energy, that mindset. And although it may help you, it say that, it was a meme that said when a woman break up with a man, she turn around and go to school and got a house and got a new car, and she doing all of this stuff. And a lot of times it's the opposite. Men, they, break down, don't want to do nothing, or they go to the gym, they start working out, they, make more money because you want to show the other person something versus showing yourself something. How do you get that much energy, to do something to better yourself based off of a bad experience? It happens, but when you don't have to do that, you can choose just to have a better life and be better in your health and be better in your mental. That's what I encourage people to do. Don't let something negative have to catapult you to something greater. It shouldn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. I think society messed us up to think everything's supposed to be super hard. You're supposed to be, if you ain't stressed, you can't go to sleep. If you going to sleep, then you ain't grinding. All of these different things that we've adapted or adopted, just go back to that. That's it can be familiar dysfunction. It can be familiar because somebody else became successful that way, but what's going to keep you there? What's going to keep you in that space? Because that's not going to be it. If you diving off of what happened negatively to you. So just think about that. Do you depend on your own happiness or those around you? When you think about, are you happy within yourself? Are you happy with just being by yourself? I've personally witnessed people never sit with themselves. Never. I had a season where I was with myself, and it was beautiful. And it allows me to be comfortable in my space with other people because I'm comfortable in my own space. So it would never be, a place where I'm just not comfortable. I need somebody to talk to, or I just got to talk to somebody. Now, we're not meant to be alone, but it's nothing wrong with sitting with yourself. So it always, some people just always have to be a crowd. It always have to be a conversation, entertainment, a relationship, or just something. You got to have something going on. How do you really ever know yourself if you never get to know yourself? If you never get to know you, what you like, what you don't like, how you feel, how would you know? So think about familiar dysfunction and how that affects you from spending time with yourself. You're spending time by yourself. Nobody else, no thrill, no nothing. It's just you. It's you and God. You and God, and figure yourself out. So we spend a lot of times getting to know other people. Some people actually get shamed for wanting to spend time alone or be by themselves. Shame for not wanting to do what others may seem as or deem as the American dream. Having a husband, a wife, a kid, car, picket fence, debt, all this stuff to make you seem or look successful. Some people are getting shamed for just wanting to go and get an RV and freaking sleep outside. Like everybody's life is different. But think, what is driving you? Is it that familiar dysfunction? Because that's something to think about. But being around people you can't truly be yourself is a disservice. It's a disservice to you and anybody that you encounter. So I want to encourage you, if you have to go around people and you have to suppress who you really are, you're not doing yourself a service. You can be totally, fully yourself. And if that's not accepted, then those are not your people. And if it's something that you need to change it at your own time. Don't be forced to do it. Change on your own time. Because this is your life, and it has to be a genuine change. It has to be an authentic change. Not because somebody around you may want you to change or may see something that you can be doing. Make sure this walk and this journey is authentic for you. It's important. It's vital. Because if something happens tomorrow, you can live this life saying, I live with no regrets. I live my life fully every day. I'm present. Every time I can strive for something, I do it. I do it wholeheartedly with everything I have. And it will be no regrets. That's how this life should be lived. When you think about death, nobody want to talk about that, but we're all gonna visit it. It's at some day, some point. But regardless, you want to live a life with no regrets. You want to live a life that you don't have to question. Was I being real? Was I being true to myself? I was only doing that because they wanted me to. Or I really didn't like what I was doing. Or I really didn't want to talk this way, but I just wanted to fit in or whatever. Whatever the case may be for you. Just think about that. Self-accountability for dysfunctional behavior. I'm going to leave you with a few things. Dominance or abnormal submission. Let's think about that. If you're in a situation where you're in a dominated situation or you abnormally submit, which means you have no voice. This is your life. You have no voice. You don't allow yourself to talk. You may be, it's not shared. It's one-sided. So when you think about always a blame game, when you think about the relationships you have, whether romantic or not, it can be friendships with your children, with your parents. It doesn't matter. Anybody. When you think about this, is it a dominant or are you abnormally submissive? Is it always a blame game? Dysfunctional communication? You can't never get anything out without, it was you. Oh, it was your fault. No, it's your fault. Without anybody taking accountability. Is it constant tension? Just think about your dealings with people. Your dealings, how you deal and how people deal with you. Is it constant tension? Like walking on eggshells because nobody know when you're going to just blow up or break down or get super emotional where you're unconsolable. Are you always frustrated? Or are they always frustrated? Are you holding resentment, which is a silent poison, and we got to be careful with that? Do you criticize everything? Is everything being criticized? Nothing can just be? Are you holding grudges? Are you around people that's holding grudges? And have you dealt with unprocessed emotions? And again, if you're just joining, I am talking about familiar dysfunction and how that affects us. It affects everybody around you. It affects you. If you're dealing with it, if you are the person that is dishing it out, either way, it's something to deal with. This is a live show, 313-266-2811, but I won't be before you long. What has your attention? Is it helping? Is it healthy? Are you happy? Because these are things that you can control. You can control what you allow into your life. Is it helping you? You can control what's healthy in your life. You can control if you're happy. Because nobody can make you happy but you first. And then people can add to your happiness. People can add to it. But you got to make yourself happy. A few critical ongoing steps in noticing familiar dysfunction. When you notice this in yourself, you can think about getting a therapist, out with the old, in with the new. Because I know a lot of people want to hold on to baggage. They want to hold on to, what no longer serves them. And getting a therapist, I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's a person that's non-biased, someone that you're comfortable with. Recognize the true power that you have in your very own life. I don't think majority of our peers understand how powerful they truly are, because people are told the opposite, or they're giving their power and their will over to spiritual leaders, or they're giving their power and their will over to a mate, or they're giving everything to work, and they're not tapping in and understanding the power that they have. So identify behaviors and beliefs you want to change. A lot of times we just got to do the work. We got to sit down, not complain about it, not get on the phone and gossip about it or whatever, but really identify the behaviors that you want to change. What behaviors and beliefs do I want to change? Because that doesn't work for me. And I know I grew up with that, but that doesn't work for me. And I know everybody's saying this about me, but that doesn't work for me. So being able to identify that, this will help with noticing familiar dysfunction. Be assertive and set boundaries and practice non-attachment. So I've been going through this in layers of detaching myself from certain things in this tangible. Just detaching from the physical, some physical aspects, and just a lot of different things, just detaching from it, because a lot of this stuff is familiar, but then it can attach to your ego. And when it attaches to your ego, that creates a whole different version of who you are and who you could be. And so just be mindful of that. And I want to remind you to set yourself free. And I'm going to give you a few things to encourage you to do that. You don't owe anybody loyalty but yourself. That is number one. You don't owe anybody loyalty but yourself first. Focus on positive self-talk and, stop reminding yourself of the things that don't make you feel good. I just refuse to give my time and my energy to so much stuff that just don't make me feel good. It makes me feel anxious. Why am I talking about it? Why am I giving it my energy? So I think about that. Find things that bring you joy. If it ain't bringing you joy, what is it bringing? At the end and the beginning of the day. Reframe stressful situations. So like today, I like to be on time. I like things on time. I value my time. And so to start late and to not have, my thing, the way I do it and my mind and stuff set a certain way, I had to reframe that whole thing. Because I could have been like, you know what? Forget it for today. I'll come back next week. But it don't even matter. Because I'm still going to say what I need to say. And whoever needs to hear it is going to hear it. And I chose not to put any energy into what I could not control at that moment. So reframing what may be a stressful situation. These are things to help you set yourself free. Set yourself free from familiar dysfunction. Things that you've been doing, but it doesn't help you. Set yourself free from it. Just detach. Think of it like little suction cups all on you. Just start pulling them off. Just detach from all of it. Because it don't matter at the end of the day. Manage what you would normally what normally would cause stress. Normalize and manage it. Manage what would normally cause stress. If you know that coming and getting in the parking spot and somebody get in your parking spot, now that's about to make you mad. Okay, just go to another parking spot. You can manage that. You can switch that up. Disconnect from things that trigger you. That's familiar dysfunction. Disconnect from it. If it's triggering, it gotta go. Because what we doing? What is we doing? And the last thing I want to encourage you to do, be aware of the superficiality of this world. Go deeper. Go on this journey, and you may have to do it alone, but you're not alone. So long as you know that you will run into the people that can help you on this journey, make sure you pray and make sure you ask God for guidance. Make sure you ask your angels around you for help, and make sure you show gratitude daily. Literally daily. Just thank you. It don't even have to be nothing. Don't ask for nothing. Just say thank you. Just say thank you. Especially when you see things that are happening. Everything's working together for your good. And so I hope this encouraged you today to be mindful of familiar dysfunction, how it affects your life, how being in those comfortable positions and dealing with people that make you comfortable, but they're from your past, or, different things that happen, jobs where it's just familiar, but it's dysfunctional. You have the right, the choice, the freedom to free yourself from that. So I thank you guys for watching. Make sure you meet me here next week. Hopefully same time, normal time, but I thank you guys for watching. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about that. Peace.